Mommunes. Yes, that's what they're calling it. Mothers are living single together. Women's are joining forces under one roof using the age-old power of sisterhood to split the household bills and raise their children. It's going to end up just like that women-only company. Oh, there's going to be one exception, though. Guys, knowing how a lot of these women are, what are the odds that they're going to be grooming each other's children to date in the family, so to speak? In the mommune, rather. Yeah, these organizations should be under constant watch. Because I would be very concerned for any boys that are being raised in these arrangements. Yeah, see, they even got a dog there too. Oh my God, you know, white women and their dogs. No, first, Kristen, no, but Bati Keffer lost her marketing job when there was a management change. Then her marriage fell apart, and she suddenly found herself with no income and nowhere to go. And yet, she had no income, and yet somehow she maintained custody of the kid. How much you want to bet that her husband, or ex-husband rather, was maintaining a stable job, and yet they still gave the kids to her unemployed ass? To help her get back on her feet last year, two family friends invited her and her now 4-year-old daughter to stay in their 4-bedroom home in Jacksonville, Florida. When Miss Batikifer's best friend, Tessa Gilder, also went through a divorce and came to stay in the house, bringing along her 2 children, now ages 5 and 1. Now, almost overnight, they had organically formed a commune for single mothers, a mommune. Congratulations, you've just stepped back a few decades. This is what you want? So they would rather live, like maybe 4 or 5 of them to a house with their respective kids than just stay with a man. They'd rather do this than just stay with the man. They're nuts. All over the world, women's are joining forces under one roof, sharing the load of childcare and household bills through age-old power of sisterhood. Yeah, this used to be called marriage, where 2 people would join together to share the load to raise a family. You don't want that, do you? No, you do not want that. Yeah, it's basically a daycare center now. Yeah. As you previously chronicled her family's mobile life living in a renovated Air Force bus on social media when she was married, spread the word about her new single life with 4 adults and 3 children. Yeah, there's like one boy there. I feel sorry for that kid. When she came down with a headache, sore throat, and body aches that knocked her flat, the other women in the house cooked her homemade soup and cookies and shepherded the chillins to a park nearby so she could rest. They're going to demand a return for those favors, guaranteed. A support system like no other, she wrote on TikTok post, has been viewed more than 1 million times. Should have moved into a mommune a long time ago. Are they all unemployed? I mean, I was going to say her husband would have probably done that too, but then I realized he's probably out paying the bills. So maybe it'll be a little bit more difficult if you actually got to work to pay to pay for all this good stuff. Yeah, that's something that, like, as a guy, women, if you're out working too much, making money, then you never spend time with me. You're never around. You feel like you're avoiding me. And then so you cut back your hours to spend more time with her. Well, why are you being so lazy? Why don't you we have bills to pay. You're not making enough money. There's no winning. The living arrangement isn't novel. Mothers, particularly those in non-white communities, have been house sharing for centuries. But the pandemic, thus a rising number of white, non-Hispanic single mother households in the U.S., has put a new spotlight on making your own family structure. In Latino culture, there's the idea of a co-mother, a person who supports you and helps you raise your children. At the height of the pandemic, we started creating these pods of people. So it's just another iteration of that type of partnership. So Miss Bastidas grew up in a mommune, raised alongside her sister and cousin in one house, and by her mother and her aunt, both of them unmarried and without partners. Yeah, that's right. That's what we got to do. We got to normalize this. Yeah, that's totally going to make for more stable children if we just normalize this bullshit. That's right. They don't have to work. They're just getting child support and government handouts. Yeah, paid for by men paying their taxes. Yeah, of course. But they don't need no man. They just need that man's money. That's all. But they don't need the man. They could do everything by themselves. They're strong and independent as long as a man is paying their bills. But they don't need no man for anything else except to pay their bills. Now, we were told it takes a village, but it's not always there, and single moms especially are juggling rising costs of living and reduced childcare options. This is a part of a larger trend of parents stretching traditional boundaries of what a family is and taking matters in their own hands to find creative solutions. And nearly 80% of single parent families in the U.S. are headed by single mothers, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. You could thank the family courts for that. I'm willing to bet that in maybe 80% of that 80%, the man would rather have the kid, but the courts don't let him have the kid. So it's entirely a self-inflicted problem right here. And with academic research that some of these units are far more likely to experience poverty, psychological distress, low self-esteem, and lack of emotional support. Wouldn't be a problem if they just let the more qualified guy handle it. Single motherhood, said Naomi Torres Mackey, a clinical psychologist focusing on women's mental health in New York City, often leads to role strain. The stress that comes when a person cannot fulfill the multitude of responsibilities required by their societal role. Sharing resources is key and can be an antidote to not just the role strain, but social isolation and stigma. Oh, that's pretty funny right there. No one cares when it's men who are suffering from this, by the way. No one cares at all. Men just have to man up and deal with it. It's do your duty. Yeah, I agree, though. Divorcing your husband to become a single mother is child abuse. It needs to be treated as such, yeah. In April of current year -3, with pandemic lockdowns in full force, longtime friends Holly Harper, a marketing executive, and Heron Hopper, an attorney, were both newly divorced and managing remote work in their children's virtual school from tiny apartments in Washington, D.C. Going it alone is feeling like an increasingly uphill battle, so they changed course, pooled their finances, and bought a home to share instead. So you got rid of the man, and now you're just in a lesbian marriage instead. For Ms. Hopper, 46, a Mommune offered a way to share the heavy burden of juggling home and career without a romantic partner, as well as a path towards homeownership post-divorce. So I guess the alimony's not enough. But both Holly and I have been voyeurs when it comes to real estate, and we're like, why not? She said, sharing a home, adding Miss Harper offers single mothers a key thing that's often taken away when the relationship falls apart: economic mobility. We want our kids to be safe. We want the support we deserve as humans. Oh, no, you don't deserve shit. Now, if you wanted your kids to be safe, just let your ex-partner have them. They probably do a way better job. And then but then that second line, they gave it away. We want the support we deserve. Oh yeah, you need someone else to take care of you, but you're strong and independent, though. The economic linchpin is that of real estate. The most logical thing in the world is to share. Not a bad conclusion, I will say. The duo evenly split the $835,000 cost for the sage green fourplex in the DC suburb of Tacoma Park, painting the interior walls in jewel tones and christening it the Siren House, the Spinster House. Ms. Hopper lives here with her 10-year-old son and 15-year-old daughter in a 3-bedroom unit on the second floor. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words here. They're complaining that they can't get a house. Oh, mobility. Oh, real estate is the problem. They split an almost $1 million house. Couldn't you have just gotten a $200,000 house and had money left over? Did you need an almost $1 million house? Seriously? This is another self-inflicted problem. They cry that they'll never own a house and it's so unfair. Like this, I've known people that make $200,000+ a year crying about that. Well, why don't you move out of San Francisco and go to Wyoming and you can have a fucking mansion there for the cost of the apartment you're paying for? Like, you work remote anyway, dumbass. But I like it here. I want to live in this city. Well, then, fuck you. Just deal with it. I got no sympathy for people like that. Like, they cry poor when they make 6 figures. Man, fuck right off. Her home is colorful and chaotic. Its walls filled with artwork and photography, and rooms stuffed with knickknacks and bright furniture. Miss Harper lives on the first floor with her 10-year-old daughter and their in their own 3-bedroom unit, which is tidy and zen. 6 months after moving in, the pair invited 2 other women, including another mother with 2 children, to take the basement and attic units of the home and join them in their communal experiment. How long until the cat fights destroy the whole thing? I bet it's coming soon. Just like that woman-only company we covered. They have since bought a second 3-unit building nearby with the aim of renting it to other single parents. Parents, just say mothers. Do you think they'd accept a single father? No, I don't. They're not going to go that far. With a purchasing model that can help them build equity after divorce, Ms. Harper dreams of expanding its model to single parents in other cities as well. Just say single mothers. Until I see them actually doing this for a man. You can do this anywhere. It's not gendered and it's not political. It's literally just the existing structure and using it to your own advantage, I guess. Not exactly wrong. But what do you think's going to happen when you got men and women living together in a share house? But the co-living parents who call themselves platonic spouses have had their ups and downs. After moving into the Siren House, the women launched a drinks and snack shop that failed. Their 2 new tenants, one of whom had never dated women before, fell in love with each other and eventually moved out. Okay, I guess you could call that a success. Ms. Hopper and Ms. Harper still live in the home, but they now rent the basement unit to a gay man. Oh, okay, so they're rented to men if they're gay. And keeping the upstairs unit vacant as a shared space for homework, dance parties, and quiet time. Quiet time and dance parties. I guess not both at once. Despite the hiccups, they said they're proud of what they've done, throwing the rule book for single motherhood out the window. In the patriarchal, heteronormative society, you get divorced and stay in the house, or you buy another one, and you live this isolated life where you're supposed to date and fall in love again and get remarried or blend families. It seems like it's always a binary. We have dispelled this myth that there's only one path forward. There's always been more than one path forward. Only tools believed otherwise. So the path is growing more organized and being formalized. Groups are now offering shared living arrangement for single parents. Yeah, then you go run into people that would rather be alone. No, Carmel Boss. Is that a stripper? Yeah, that's a stripper name. Caramel Boss? That sounds like a stripper name. A Mommune veteran who said she coined the term Mommune years before it entered the social media lexicon started Co-Abode, a house-sharing platform for single mothers. I mean, I just said stripper. It's same thing. As a nonprofit after a divorce 20 years ago. At the time, she had just become a single mother. A 7-year-old son decided to invite another single mother in LA to live with her. She realized, however, that there was no easy resource for single mothers in seeking communal housing to find each other, and the idea was born. Credit where it's due. She at least that's a good entrepreneurial move. Now, at first, Co-Abode was like Craigslist for mothers, she said, but in current year -7, she converted it to a for-profit business. Now estimates that 300,000 single mothers have created profiles for home share matches on her site. We're like an online village, except women's are meeting in person, said Miss Boss 69. Nice. So, stripper 69? Making sense. Later this year, Commune, a residential housing developer based in France, opened a development for single-parent households in the Paris suburbs with space for 14 families. A second project will open at the end of the year in north of France with a space of 28 families. So 2-bedroom units with a kitchenette will start at 1,190 euros a month, said Tara Hoytze-Sarmini, the Commune's Paris-born co-founder. The company said, the company, she said, is filling a gap. Yeah, I can't criticize that. It's there is a legitimate market here that they're taking advantage of. That's true. I was not interested in creating co-living spaces for yuppies living in Berlin, she said. The elephant in the room was demographics of single parents whose needs are completely unaddressed by the market. Very smart. The need is worldwide. Anna Dillon, 42-year-old Irish mother living in Abu Dhabi, decided to create a Mommune in current year -2 with Emily Winship, 40, an American. Both are indoctrination professors. Oh, that explains a lot. Ms. Dillon has been in the United Arab Emirates since current year -10, but divorced her husband in current year -4. How'd she get away with that in the UAE? In the first year of the pandemic, she said the isolation was crushing and caring for her two children, a daughter 12 and a son 13, was challenging while juggling a social life and a full-time job. Meanwhile, her ex-husband is probably like, hey, I'll gladly take the kids. Miss Winship, her colleague, is facing similar struggles. She lived in the Middle East for 13 years, but when the pandemic hit, she was newly separated and alone with her son, now 12. I told her I wish we all lived in the place where our kids could play together. September current year -2, they began renting a 3-bedroom apartment in a gated community, splitting the rent evenly and taking turns cooking and watching each other's kids. The arrangement isn't forever. Miss Winship and Miss Dillon both have new partners and plan to eventually move out and start new lives with them. But after living through a pandemic in a foreign country together, they say the partnership has been essential. They're basically munching each other's carpet at this point. Now, I wish you had done it about 2 years earlier. Yeah, hindsight, man. I know the feeling. Back in Florida, Miss Gilder, Miss Buttkiffer also don't plan on staying in the four-bedroom house in Jacksonville area forever. Who actually owns the house, though? Like, so what happens when you move out? Like, do you forfeit your share of the house? Does the other party have to buy you out? Did you guys discuss that? Because that's going to come up. So the duo hopes to buy and remodel a fixer-upper of their own in the coming year, and to allay costs, they've signed a deal with the television producer who believes the process of renovating their new Mommune could make for entertaining reality television. Entertaining and reality television in the same sentence in current year? Okay. But whether or not these small screen dreams come to fruition, they say the little community she's built in her current house has helped her not just recover from heartbreak, but give her peace of mind. She says she's more present and focused as a mother. Yeah, I get when you got someone else to pawn your responsibilities on. Yeah, you can get away with that. I can see. Now, when I had to leave my husband, did you have to, or was it just because you weren't happy? All I can think about is how out now I have to figure out how to do everything on my own, buy a house on my own, pay my bills on my own, raise my child on my own. I'm sure he would have gladly taken the kid, but now you don't want to do that, do you? Her divorce finalized in February and now splits custody with her ex-husband. I never thought about finding another single mother to live with and do it together. We just fell into it. But now it's like, why isn't it more common for us to join forces? Well, for the reason of that women-only company I was talking about. Eventually, the cattiness kicks in and it all falls apart.